Welcome to my show. I am with a guest here. Her name is Stefan Wilson. Stefan Wilson, how you doing, ma?
I am doing great. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
All right, ma. Thank you very much, ma. Okay, firstly, we want you to discuss with us with your experience, some of your story and your experience on broadcasting, on broadcasting marketing, and you also have a background in radio and TV. You're also a real estate broker. Can you walk us through your journey, how you've made it, your setback and things like that, and how you are doing currently, ma?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, you make me sound super important. Hope I can live up to all that. Uh, so I've always wanted to be in broadcasting. When I was a little girl, my grandfather had a TV sales shop. And back in the old days, they sold televisions, they repaired them. You didn't just buy flat screens and replace them when they break. And I would lay on the floor and look at all the different TVs. I thought, this is really interesting how the TVs are telling me information, the news, the weather. And it just really made me really want to be that person to talk to people. So I went to college for broadcast journalism, and I really worked a lot of years in radio. And I enjoyed radio broadcasting because the loyalty of the listenership and it people that listen to small town radio, that's how they get their information. And I really enjoyed again that delivery of information. And so I did that for years. I had three boys at that time, and I raised them, kind of doing some radio and some TV. And after I think probably about 18 years of doing it, a little bit of burnout. So I got into real estate and I really liked it. I liked commercial property, looking at buildings, seeing what they could be, what they have been, and negotiating deals for real estate. So now I'm kind of combining real estate. I do broadcasting, some podcasting. But what I love about this era that we're in with technology, we can do all of those things. You don't have to pick just doing real estate or just being podcast on air. You can do it all from your home. I can talk to you from America. You can talk to me. It opens up such a great world of opportunity that I think everybody should really be a part of this and really dive into what your interests are and go for it. There's a lot of great things to do out there.
All right, ma. Thank you very much for that, ma. And also, you call yourself a no-nonsense woman. Can you explain to us what you mean by a person who is a no-nonsense ma? Texas woman, rather.
Maybe I should go get one of my boys to explain that. But I, what I mean by no nonsense, and I mean it kind of in like a joking tongue and cheek kind of way, but I really believe in like straightforward, practical conversations. I think sometimes we get a little too involved with theory and hypothesis, and really going back to roots of, does it make sense? Is it necessary? Is it helping someone? Or is it just a waste of time discussing? And so I like to spend my time and my focus, and people around me do as well, on focusing on things that are really important that can really help people and maybe not get facts and hypothesis, kind of involved in that. And I just happen to be from Texas, so I just throw it all together as a no nonsense Texas girl. But I do believe in keeping it real, I guess, and I've listened to your podcast and I know a lot of your guests and you are the same way on talking about factual data.
All right, ma. Thank you very much for that, ma. I want to also ask, can you share with us some of your story of overcoming obstacles? Can you share us any story you know you've had when having issue and you've overcome this, ma?
Sure. We've all gone through obstacles and different things in our lives that have been traumatic. that have set us back, maybe reevaluate, kind of pivot our lives in different directions. And when I went through a couple of obstacles in my college years, and I think when you go through a traumatic event, you can one fight or two flee. And I decided to not really be a victim, but to use what happened, my story, to help others. And so I moved forward with, I think if you're through traumatic events, to get the help you need and then help others. So that's sort of the way that I did it, is just to stay positive, ask for help, drop the ego, and just say, I'm weak now, but I need to be strong later. So you have to kind of work up to that when you go through traumatic events in your life, for sure. But have a good network of people around you and talk to people. That's so important.
All right, ma. All right, ma. Thank you very much for that, ma. So, ma, I want to ask because a lot of people have setbacks. So I want to know, like, how do you try your best to handle setback in your life? How do you try your best to handle issues in your life? Setback, something like that, ma.
I believe that when something happens to you or you have a setback, that you should stop and pause and really think about that situation and what happened and how it happened, so that you can be proactive next time that it won't happen, right? Sometimes there's little decisions that you make that can lead to bad, big decisions, right? Maybe you drinking and driving lead you to jail. So look at the little decisions that you made that made something big happen to you, and maybe just correct your course. Understand what happened, where it came from, acknowledge it, but then move forward in a different manner or a different way. Of course, if someone attacks you or something happens to you, I do believe that you do need to reach out for help. You need to talk. You need to do whatever it is to make your internal voice happy inside of you again, so that you can move forward. But being proactive and having a good network around you, a good base, is always helpful in any kind of traumatic event.
All right, ma. Thank you very much, ma. There are a lot of characters everywhere. There are a lot of attitude. I want to ask you, like, what's role as mindset and also attitude? How has it helped with your recovering process? With those mindsets and attitude, does it contribute to how you recover from having serious issues in life, ma?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Um, I will say that I believe our internal voice is very important. I know what my flaws are. Okay. You know what yours are. Everybody really knows internally what is right and what is wrong. Working that out inside your head will help you get self happiness and then project it to others, right? So let's say you have an addiction, right? Or a problem. First, your internal voice, stop lying to yourself, understand what your problem is, work it out in your mind, and then speak it out to someone else, and be held accountable and get help. But until you're internally talking to yourself and you admit to yourself that there's an issue or a problem, you're not no one around you can help you. No one. You have to quit lying to yourself and work on yourself. And really, no one else can do it but you. That person is the only one. When I've gone through things, I had people around me supporting me, but how I healed and got moved forward was inside. And that character, I can't describe what it is. Obviously, I'm not, trained in it, but I will say it's that internal voice that you hear that can help you move through things internally so that you can move forward and be happy and be there for others as well.
All right, ma. Thank you very much for that, Ariam. I really appreciate it for that. I want to ask everybody have a lot of challenges, but I want to ask specifically, how do you try your best to how do you try your best to with the challenges you have faced? How have you tried your best to deal with those challenges?
I, I I deal with them by everybody has a different way. I like to think through before and after, and I do a lot of problem solution, right? So there's a problem. I don't know. This thing is happening. What's the solution? Let's move past the problem, recognize it, but let's get a solution. Let's move forward. Let's not get caught up in a lot of it for certain people. And then to prepare and be flexible and also to pivot. Let's say it's a career change, it's a lifestyle change. Maybe you went from having money and now something happened, you don't have money. Obviously, you have to change a lot in your mindset, but also you need to get a solution and move forward. So, problem solution, that's how I deal with things. Some people journal, some people do a lot of hobbies, some people get therapy. Everybody is so very different. And I like that you asked because I can just share what I do. Other people may do something different, but I like to really think about the problem, how it happened, why it happened, and then move forward in a positive manner.
All right, ma. Thank you very much, ma. I want to ask, how do you think communities and family can help support someone who is just recovering from, obstacles and issues, ma?
Yeah, I recently dealt with this within my family. And while when you're in a family, you want to help, you want to solve it for them. And that's what I do because I'm a solver. I solve problems all day. So I want to go in and make things better for this family member, and I can't. And then you feel really helpless. You're like, what can I do to, because you see they have a problem. They don't really see it yet, but we all know. So what can you do? You can be there for them when they fall. You can just be positive while they're going through it. But instead of judging or giving an opinion, I really think we should just listen and be there. I think those are the two things that person that if I was in a situation that I would need someone to listen and just be there when I need them, not to redesign my life for me, but to just be around. And I think family is so important. They can be important in a positive, they can be important in a negative. The negative ways, I'm not sure how to deal with that. The positive ways I do know about, which would be just to be there to catch them when they fall and make sure the landing maybe isn't too hard.
All right, ma. Thank you very much, ma. I would like to ask, with all, we know you have not, solved some of it. You still have some obstacles currently, but with the ones you've solved, how can you, see your future through the ones you solved now, ma?
Okay, this is my favorite part. The future goals are so awesome. And I don't know if it's because I'm 50 now and I can look back and kind of look at things differently. When you're in the day to day and you're raising kids and you're working on your career, you get really caught up in the moment. But when you get older, you look back and you're like, man, I really wish I would have enjoyed that more. Or I wish I wouldn't have done that, whatever it may be. But now's the best part. As you know, I had my very first grandchild was born a few days ago. She's a happy, precious baby girl. And so that's been my why the last 15 years. She's my why of doing positive things for myself is now I'm going to get to be a grandmother. My boys are young men. They're having families. They're growing. It's beautiful. But what I would say to younger women, particularly with families, and it's easier said than done, but get a good life balance. Yes, it's important to work and be a career woman. Gotcha. But it's so important in those first few years in life of a young one to be there. Find a good fit that isn't all one way or another, but a good life balance is so important. So moving forward for me, I'm doing things I've never done before. Okay. I'm journaling, I'm podcasting, I'm doing some voiceover acting. I have zero clue how to do that, but I'm doing things that make me happy but I'm also working. So I haven't quit my day job, of course. So I think a good balance of life is so important. And just sit back and laugh and smile and be grateful for whatever, even if it's the smallest thing, be grateful for something every single day. There's always a blessing somewhere in life in a moment, you know?
All right, ma. Congratulations, ma, and I'm so happy for you, ma. Congratulations so much, ma.
Thank you.
All right, ma. On this obstacle, I would like to ask: can obstacle be prevented? Can it? Is there anything that someone can do to prevent obstacle?
Think so. I think some of obstacles. That's a big word, but I think if you're proactively doing the right thing and making right decisions, you're averting a lot of disasters that could happen, right? Being true to yourself. Um, Life is life, and it's just going to happen. You could be the happiest, most perfect person in the world, and somebody's going to come out and you're going to be hurt. Something bad's going to happen to you. But if you have the right mindset constantly, when bad things happen, you don't turn to alcohol, drugs, you don't turn to whatever your addiction may be because you've already built a positive mindset in your mind and you've already had those small goals. So obstacles aren't as big when you're already right and healthy. I think when you're more in an active addiction or a bad situation, your first responses may not be so good, which I think is why reaching out for help is probably super important. But you can't avoid obstacles. Just do your best to get through them and get get help when you need it, or talk to people. You know.
All right, ma. Thank you very much for that, ma. For those who are still having some personal struggles, what is the best advice currently now can you give to anyone who is having some personal struggles?
Well, I think first acknowledge it for what it is. And sometimes I call it, sometimes you have to sit in the suck. And what I mean by that is sometimes things are bad and they're just bad. And that's just the way it's going to be. So just sit and feel it, right? Learn from it and pivot. Don't stay in it. Don't stay in the mess. Really try to get yourself out of it as quickly as you can. There's so much online, so many people to help you. I mean, you reach out and ask for the help. Drop the ego for sure. Get vulnerable and really come back stronger. The weaker you start, the stronger you get. Right? Then you can be like this superhero that overcame this addiction, that overcame a mental health because you helped yourself. Now go help others. You know, pay it forward. Let's get happy and help other people be happy for sure.
All right, ma. Normally there's one last question I always ask from the ancestors, from the forefathers. If there is anything you would like to, bring back to our time today, what do you think that thing would be, ma?
Oh, I like that. So much I would like to bring back. But I will say I would bring back the family unit as it used to be, you know, the Mayberry, as you will, the white picket fence family that was there for each other, thick or thin, and that took like had each other's back. And so the family unit, it's still strong today. But I really like when I watch the old black and white films how the dynamics were. They were very respectful with each other. They were very considered, of the other person. So I would say from the forefathers, I think they got it right on the family unit. And I would like to see more of that unit. I mean, with the divorce rates as high as they are, and I mean, I've been divorced, so I'm speaking to my own self. It's hard to have that, connection with families broke. But you can co-parent successfully. But I really miss that family unit. So that's what I believe I'd bring back.
All right, ma. My heart goes to you, ma. And I want to say Thank you so much. As in, I'm so happy to have this meeting with you successfully because I was already doubting myself already that he was going to happen now. But I want to say thank you so much, ma, for giving me having the patience and giving me the time and the opportunity to have this conversation with you. I want to say thank you so much, ma.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I look forward to hearing more of your podcast. I'm a fan. So keep the good content going. You're delivering a great message. And so keep it going. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, ma. Bye bye.
Bye.